Okay, so the most important thing that you guys are probably going to learn in physical science is something that you probably already know, and that's the law of conservation of energy. So we've already talked about conservation of matter. Mass is always going to stay, or mass has to be conserved. We learned about that first semester when we were doing chemical reactions. And what the law of conservation of energy states is that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can be transferred or it can be transformed. So let's talk a little bit about what that means. So here you've got a marble that's rolling up and down on this little ramp. And there's two main types of energy that are going on here, potential energy and kinetic energy. So to remind you, potential energy is the energy an object has from its position, or sometimes we talk about like its internal forces, like when a rubber band is stretched, it's got its internal forces pulling on it, or chemical energy, how the atoms are all arranged and stuff. But mainly we're going to just be focusing on the position. So in this example, this little marble has a lot of potential energy when it's up high on top of that hill. And then when it rolls down, it's going to speed up until it gets to the very bottom, and then it'll start slowing down again as it rises back up. But when it's moving, that's when it has kinetic energy. And when it's high up and not at the bottom, that's when it has potential energy. Notice that it actually has both at the same time. They're transferring back and forth. And please don't let the whole pausing of the marble at the bottom here confuse you. It's not actually stopping, it's just pausing the animation to point out that that's where it has the most kinetic energy, where it would be moving the fastest. Okay, here's a couple more examples of energy transformation, just really talking about kinetic energy and potential energy in very broad terms. So you've got the cyclist who uses kinetic energy, and as they're going up the hill, that's transforming into potential energy, and then it transforms back into kinetic energy as they're going down again. Same thing actually in reverse is going on with the pendulum. When it's at its highest point, trying to match what you guys are saying because it's flipped, as it goes down, then the pendulum is picking up speed, and that's transforming into kinetic energy. And then when it starts going up again, then it's transforming back into gravitational potential energy. So that's generally really all we're talking about here. We can get a little bit more specific than just potential energy and kinetic energy. Last week we talked about the different types of potential energy and kinetic energy very briefly. So potential energy, again, it's due to position or internal forces. You really see internal forces come into play with the nuclear energy or the elastic potential energy with that stretching. And then with rocket fuel, it has to do with that chemical potential for the chemical reaction to occur. And then gravitational really is about position of objects relative to each other. And on Earth, you know, if I have my pill bottle, if I lift that up, the higher I lift it, the more gravitational potential energy it has. And then it'll transform back into kinetic as it falls. And then kinetic energy, that's all about motion. So sometimes we don't necessarily think, for example, about light and thermal energy as being energy in motion, but really they are. Thermal energy is always caused from atoms in motion, whether that's down at the atomic level where you can't really see it just with regular human eyes, but we can certainly feel it when things are in motion. They can create heat. Light energy, which is in motion traveling through space. Sound energy has to travel through a medium like air or water or maybe even a string to get from the source to your ear. Electrical energy, of course, is the flow of electrons through a circuit, and then wind is just the flow of air. So those are all some different types of kinetic energy. Okay, and then just an example for you of energy transfer. So in this example, we have the car as it accelerates, it's turning chemical energy, the gas, into kinetic energy. It's in motion. And then when the brakes are stopping the car, that that rubbing, that friction of the brakes on the wheels creates a lot of thermal energy. But notice that this total amount of energy that the car has, it's always the same. So it's going to change forms and it might move from one object to another, but it will always be the same total amount of energy. Okay, that is it for the lesson portion. And here's what I'm going to have you guys do as your assignment. So right here is your assignment. And first you're going to, well, you've already watched the video. Then I want you to open this energy forms and changes simulation. So if you click that, it will take you to this simulation. And you can look at the intro if you want to. It's kind of neat. You can try out like, putting the water on top of the brick, or you can put an object there. You can put the object inside of the liquid and then, drag in these thermometers and put the energy symbols on there, and you can see how that causes things to heat up. You can also make them go up at the same time so you can compare. So, that's kind of interesting, but what I'm actually going to have you guys take a look at is the second simulation, this one here. And this is where your assignment really is going to be. What I'd like you to do is to try out 3 different formations of the simulation. And then you're going to take a screenshot of each of those formations and describe the energy transformations that you're seeing. So if you want to, you can do that just as a Flipgrid video or a QuickTime video and a screencast so that I can see your screen and then you can talk me through the energy transformations. Or if you would rather just do screenshots and type it, that's also fine. I made a little template for you. So if you click that, it'll take you to a Google Doc. And this is my Google Doc. So you won't be able to edit it, but you can make a copy of this and I'll show you what I'm looking for if you decide that you want to do this version instead. So go to here. And so let's turn on this water spout, for example. And then what our goal here, you can see, is we're trying to heat up the water. And you'll start being able to see the temperature increase. And sometimes I think it helps to have little symbols on here. So then what you'll do is take a screenshot of this. And if you do hold down Command, Shift, and then hit your 4 key. And then that will let you actually take a screenshot of just a particular area, like that. And then eventually that picture will save to your desktop, hopefully. And here it goes. So now I'm going to take that screenshot and open up my template. I'm going to pop it in here. And then I'm going to write a description explaining what's going on. So the water flows out of the faucet, which is mechanical energy. It causes the wheel to turn, which is also mechanical energy, but is transferred from the water to the wheel. Then the wheel's mechanical energy is transformed into electrical energy. Which then is transformed into heat and heats up the water. And for some reason, I'm having trouble with transform today. Okay, and so that's all I'm really looking for. Show me the picture and then write out the example. And then I'd like you to do that for 2 more examples. And in your subsequent examples, I need there to be at least 2 differences. So you need to change 2 of these 3 things for your next one. So maybe you change this into the sun, and you change this into the solar panel, and you can take another screenshot again if you want to see how to do that. If you're not sure, hold down your command key, just one of them. You don't have to hold down both, just one. And then hold down shift, and then hold down 4, and that changes your cursor so that you can actually take a screenshot like that. But I don't need this one. So I am going to put it in the trash. There we go. Okay, and then when you're finished, you can either, if you record it on Flipgrid, just record it there. If you record it with QuickTime, then you will need to upload it here on Canvas. And then if you do a Google Doc, then you just need to submit it here. And that's all you need to do for this week. Thanks.